Hi, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you. It's Wednesday, the 14th day of October 2020. This is Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kutz. Beautiful morning. Look at this. Gorgeous outside after a wild weather day yesterday. Look at the birds flying around the cross cam and maybe some UFO sightings up the Waterville way. Look at the bird. I'm liking this. Well, how did we have it all yesterday? Pouring rain for most of the morning. The rain tapered off, and then here came the wind. We had more rain than the National Weather Service was predicting, and we had a little bit less wind. We had, for the record, 0.39 inches of rain. That was almost a record. Seemed like more than that. The wind wasn't as strong, at least here in the valley. Our highest sustained wind was 35 miles an hour. We did have one rogue gust up at Pangbourne, that's where they measure these things at 46 miles an hour. So we didn't get to that 50, 55, 60 mile an hour gusts that they were predicting yesterday. It was plenty windy for most people, and now we calmed down quite a bit. Still a little breezy today at times. The jet stream is still over our area, but it's gradually moving up to the north. But forecast details are coming up. We have a lot of news to get to, including some stunning photographs from a school in Quincy whose gymnasium lost their roof in the high winds yesterday out in the basin. It's spectacular photos there. Thank goodness nobody was hurt. If there's any good news about kids not being in school because of COVID, that would be one of those cases that happened at Quincy yesterday. Sports, hey, Tampa Bay is almost ready to punch their ticket to the World Series. And the surprising Atlanta Braves are giving the favorites the LA Dodgers fits. We'll talk about that. And we'll also preview our weekend sports schedule, which has been moved around just a little bit from what you're used to. Plus, Mike McNally's got an opinion. We have the obscure holidays, some Today in History. We've got some celebrity birthdays. And Dr. Garn Christensen, the superintendent of the Eastmont School District, will be my guest. He came down a couple of days ago to talk about Proposition 1 for you folks who live in the Eastmont School District. You'll see it on your ballot when you get your ballot in the next couple of days. It's the Educational Programs and Operations Levy. They want to renew it for 4 years. Garn will give you the necessary information that you need in the back half of the hour. 2.5 minutes into the show, let's see what we got going out here. And if the cross camera is any indication, we're in for some pretty spectacular views. Isn't that just gorgeous? God's country, that's where we live. Looks like we got it panned back just a little bit. And that's a 4K camera. It has 4 times the resolution as a normal high-definition camera, which is why it looks so good, and the valley looks so good after the rain and the wind from yesterday. Just a spectacular view right there. Look at this. Just look at this, and the heck with the rest of the show. Oh, we can't do that. I got things to do. Camera 2. Let's see where we're going. Oh, it's off to Jump Off Ridge. Good call, Megan. A lot of blue skies up there, just a few high clouds. Wenatchee's way off in the distance. The Stimmill Basin is directly below you. Sun's not up yet. Sun doesn't come up for about another 15 minutes or so. 7:19 sunrise this morning. Sunset 6:14. That'll buy us 10 hours and 55 minutes of daylight. Wow, that is just a stunning view. Just gorgeous. I love our valley. Camera 3. Can't wait. Where are we going now? Oh boy, the Badger? That's Monument Valley. Wow. So we're off to Quincy. Hi, Monument Hill. How you doing? Yeah, Quincy apparently had stronger winds than we did because we didn't have any reports of any major power outages or any trees down across houses yesterday. But again, it wasn't as windy as the National Weather Service was predicting, but it was obviously windy enough to do some significant damage to the gym at the elementary school and out in Quincy. And camera number 4. Let's say hello to McNeil Canyon. Yay, got it right. Lake Chelan way off in the distance. The Chelan Butte is to your left. It sticks out there quite handily. Of course, you can see the Cascades got some snow. Stevens Pass got a little bit of light snow. Sherman Pass got some light snow yesterday. And the weather today, although it's going to be sunny and a little breezy, the big story overnight tonight into Thursday is going to be the overnight lows because some locations in our viewing area are going to be right at the freezing mark. Yeah, because it's ushering in some pretty chilly temperatures. In fact, I'm officially declaring the gardening season over. I can't do that. I don't have that authority. Yeah, check out this slide from the National Weather Service. These are going to be overnight lows tonight into Thursday morning. Now, we're going to be okay. We're going to be in the lower 40s here in the Wenatchee Valley. We're going to avoid the frost, but Moses Lake, right about the freezing mark. Ritzville up north, pretty darn chilly. Look at Spokane. They'll be below freezing overnight tonight into Thursday morning. Very chilly temperatures, but not a lot of precipitation is in the forecast. In fact, really right through the forecast period, we're not looking at any kind of rain or any kind of snow at all. As a matter of fact, it's just going to feel like mid to late October. Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling gives your home a hug, and they sponsor the weather forecast from the National Weather Service. Sunshine today, a little breezy at times. Again, that strong upper jet over the area is still kind of hanging around, but throughout the course of the day today, it's going to lift to the north and the east. It's going to head off to Montana. The winds will be dropping down. Very little rain activity. I think we're pretty much done with that. 62 our high today, 39 for the overnight low tonight. So again, going to be chilly. Thursday, quite a bit of sunshine. We do it again, high of about 62, very little wind. Thursday looks beautiful, really. 42 for the overnight low. Couple of passing clouds on Friday, maybe a light raindrop, but we're going to warm back up to above normal. Our normal high for this time of the year is about 62 degrees, so it'll be fairly mild on Friday. Let's take you to the weekend. We'd like weekends. Saturday, sunshine for the most part, 62. Sunday, sunshine for the most part, 59 degrees. Get out and enjoy. Couple of clouds on Monday and Tuesday, but things are going to be rather benign compared to the wild, wacky weather we had yesterday here in north central Washington. 7 minutes after the hour. Grab your cup of coffee, your Danish, your omelet, your pancakes, your bacon, I'm getting hungry now. Grab whatever it is and come right back and see me because we got the news in 1 minute. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
My name is Lacey Haggerty, and I'm a nurse midwife with Columbia Valley Community Health. I love all aspects of my job because it is a profession that's very committed to empowering women to make decisions in their health care that feel best for them. It's incredibly valuable to me as a midwife that I get to take care of women throughout their whole lifespan. I hope to see you at a future visit because I know you'll love having midwifery care.
NCW Life Channel, in conjunction with Skeeter Buggins Productions, is proud to present the Wenatchee Valley Symphony Orchestra's first concert of the season, this Friday at 7 o'clock. Enjoy the Four Seasons of Buenos Aires by Piazzolla and La Quattro Stagioni by Vivaldi, conducted by Nicholas Cooli. Violin soloist is Brittany Breeden. Join us for this special musical event Friday at 7 o'clock on your local TV station, the NCW Life Channel.
We are back at 8 minutes after the hour. Clear skies, beautiful morning, 48 degrees, a little breezy today, high in the lower 60s, and a very pleasant stretch of weather coming our way. Here are your headlines. Check out these dramatic photos from the Quincy School District. This is from yesterday. They think it was a series of microbursts that caused this damage. That's the gym at Ancient Lakes Elementary. Extensive structural damage. Look at the inside of that. Wow, the roof is all but gone. Nobody was injured during this roof incident yesterday during the windstorm out in Quincy. They're asking, of course, people to avoid the area. It's still, there's a lot of debris, and of course they have to decide how structurally sound the remaining roof is, so they're asking people to avoid that area altogether. It's easy to want to drive by and take some pictures. Really not a very good idea, but we'll get more on this story on the news tonight. But wow, look at the damage again at Ancient Lakes Elementary out in Quincy from yesterday's windstorm. Well, took long enough, but we got there. Chelan and Douglas counties, we have officially advanced to phase 2 in Washington's COVID-19 recovery program. Governor Jay Inslee made that move yesterday afternoon. That brings north central Washington and 3 other counties in line with the rest of the state. Now, under Inslee's Safe Start program, our area has been in a modified phase 1 condition since June. Here's what the governor had to say.
To let you know that this week, we're moving forward in 5 counties in our phases. These phases currently are in Safe Start's modified phase 1, also known as phase 1.5. And today these 5 counties are moving forward fully to phase 2. This applies to Yakima, Benton, Franklin, Douglas, and Chelan counties. And I have to say, it's a mark of progress for these counties. Local leaders in these counties have worked hard to knock down this virus, and they have done so. They're not out of the woods yet. We know that. Neither they or we. At least 80,000 Washingtonians have been struck by this disease this year. But these counties and their people have made tremendous progress.
Now, phase 2 means a broader reopening of businesses, so bowling alleys, movie theaters, museums, libraries, of course, 25% occupancy, and you still got to wear a mask. Some phase 2 conditions already apply for Chelan and Douglas counties. The first local children to actually go back to in-person classes started on Monday. Kids in kindergarten through second grade levels joining socially distanced classrooms in both the Cashmere and Leavenworth school districts. Our very own Jefferson Robbins had a chance to speak with educators from the Upper Valley's Cascade School District to find out what the first day of teaching was like under the heavy burden of COVID-19.
For weeks, the coronavirus pandemic has left most school classes in the Wenatchee Valley looking like this. But on Monday, Emily Ross, the principal of Peshastin-Dryden Elementary School, got to throw open her doors to greet about 80 young students for the first time since Washington schools closed to the public last March.
They're absolutely amazing. They come in and they're like, oh yeah, and we ask them how they're feeling and they're like, well, I'm excited to come to school. And it's, you know, kids are fantastic. They demonstrate their personality and then they show how capable they are of change and adjustment and still finding the fun, even in something that seems so foreign to us as adults.
Right now, students from kindergarten through second grade are learning under a hybrid model. Part-time in-class, part-time remote learning. Approved by the Chelan-Douglas Health District, the move was made possible by community-wide testing that showed less prevalence of COVID-19 in the upper Wenatchee Valley. Cascade Superintendent Tracy Beckendorf-Adu oversees schools from Peshastin to Leavenworth to Plain, educating more than 1,300 students. She says the idea for starting the youngest students first stems from epidemiology, showing less infection and harm among young people, and from educational science.
And it's also true that the youngest children are the ones for whom it's pretty difficult to do remote instruction. Like if you can imagine remote preschool or remote kindergarten, they benefit a lot from coming to school in person. So a hybrid is a mix of in-person and remote. We're kind of walking into new territory with that also.
Depending on COVID-19's ongoing prevalence in the community, there are plans afoot to bring back Cascade kids to grades 3 through 5. Jefferson Robbins, NCW Life.
Thank you for that report, Jefferson. We appreciate it. A fire believed to have been started by a heat lamp burned a chicken coop, a shed, and a tree. This happened Monday night in the 1000 block of Harvard Avenue. In Wenatchee, Kay McKellar of Chelan County Fire District Number 1 said the call came in at 8:25 in the evening. By the time firefighters arrived, the fire had spread from the chicken coop to the shed and the tree. The scene was cleared at about 9:21. No homes damaged. McKellar said a small number of chickens did not survive the fire. A woman who led police on a chase in a stolen car last spring is now accused of stealing and crashing a Link bus in downtown Wenatchee. 33-year-old Megan Rebecca Beam of Baker City, Oregon, faces possible charges of vehicular theft, hit and run, and reckless endangerment. Wenatchee police say on Saturday she entered a parked Link transit bus on South Wenatchee Avenue, drove it a couple of blocks in the area of Columbia Station, and then jumped out while it rolled into two parked cars on Yakima Street. A bystander jumped on the bus and put it in park before it could do any more damage. Back in March, Beam fled from 4 police agencies in this cross-valley chase, driving a vehicle taken from Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway. She was sentenced to 3 months in jail for that offense. Ballots for the 2020 general election mailed out to registered voters Tuesday in Douglas County. They'll be mailed out today in Chelan County. Douglas County Auditor Thad Duvall and Chelan County Auditor Skip Moore were my guests on yesterday's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and they say there appears to be a lot of interest in the election this year, and both men are expecting a big turnout.
Yep, our ballots go out today, and we're just looking forward to hopefully them most of the ballots getting in the homes by the weekend, and so we're hoping that people just get right on that and vote.
And we think that they are. You're both of you predicting that you're going to get a lot of ballots right out of the box, right back into your offices.
Yes, I think so. I think many people have made up their minds and they're anxious to vote. I think we can tell that by our call volume, which is so much higher than it is normally. People are saying, where's my ballot? I want to vote right now. Just getting tons of calls every day. So ballots are being mailed today. Make sure that everybody knows that. And yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of people voting right up front.
Skip, when for those of us in Chelan County, when can we expect our ballots in the mailbox? I'm sorry?
We're dropping Wednesday, and you should be seeing them Thursday and Friday. So
Okay.
we're just behind
Behind
that here.
I think it's going to exceed that previous turnout number. I think we're going to have at least between 80 and 90%.
How do you account for that?
Well, just the amount of interest that's not only in Douglas County, but statewide and nationwide. Everybody is just paying attention, really in tune with what's going on, and they're anxious to vote.
And yet, ironically enough, in Douglas County, there's less things to vote on this year than there was 4 years ago. There were more locally contested races. There were more statewide contested races. There's actually less decisions to be made, and yet we're going to have a higher turnout, you think, in Douglas County?
Well, I think so. I think one of the reasons why is a lot of times issues and candidates do drive the turnout. And of course, the presidential election is off the charts. But don't forget, we have a governor's race as well. And besides that, we've never experienced a situation in our lifetime, practically, where the decisions of government officials can affect our lives like they're affecting us now. So I think people really want to express their opinion about that.
Skip, Chelan County turnout. I'm curious to hear what you think.
I honestly think we're going to crack 90%. Yeah, I know it's crazy. You know, I like to always say 100%. That's what we want. I know that's not realistic, but you know, 60 in the primary, 80 4 years ago. Just the number of calls and people registering. I can see between 85 and 90%.
And finally, this morning, the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce invites you to get to know your candidates this week. They're doing a pair of virtual political forums, and they start this morning. At 8 o'clock this morning, 4th District Congressman Dan Newhouse and his Democratic challenger, Doug McKinley, plus 8th Congressional District Republican candidate Jesse Jensen. Incumbent Congresswoman Kim Schreier will not be attending the forum. And then on Thursday morning at 8 a.m., it's Locals Night with 12th District State Legislative candidate Adrienne Moore and incumbent Keith Gaynor, plus Tiffany Gehring and Dale England, who are in the race for Chelan County Commissioner. You can watch each forum via Zoom by registering on the Chamber's website, or you can watch it on Facebook Live. And speaking of candidates forums, 1 week from tonight, next Wednesday night, we have teamed up with our friends at AM 560 KPQ Radio and the Wenatchee World. We've been doing this for a number of years, and we will also be presenting a candidates forum featuring Keith Gaynor and Adrienne Moore alongside Dale England and Tiffany Gehring, and we will have that forum for you live next Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. It is a 1-hour forum. Again, we've teamed up with our friends at KPQ and the Wenatchee World. The event will be held at the Local Tel Event Center at the Pybus Puppet Market. However, because of COVID-19 restrictions, the general public will not be allowed to attend. So if you want to be a more informed voter, we invite you to tune in to a candidates forum 1 week from tonight right here on the NCW Life channel. All right, look at the bottom of your screen. That's all the ways you can get a hold of us. Well, there's a lot of ways you can get a hold of us, but that's the best way, using the World Wide Web. You can use our Facebook page and drop us a line via Facebook Messenger, and people like to do that. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, or if you go to our website, ncwlife.com, you'll see the contact icon at the top of the screen. If you click on it, it goes, well, it doesn't go, you can do that if you want. But up comes a little form, and you can submit a news tip or just drop us a line. 19 minutes after the hour, we're talking baseball. When we're coming back, also we have the obscure holiday today in history, some celebrity birthdays. Everybody's entitled to Mike McNally's opinion, and my conversation with Dr. Garn Christensen, superintendent of the Eastmont School District. It's a busy Wednesday. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I have fiber at home because it allows me to do a great job in my profession. It allows me to learn things that I need to learn at home. It allows my kids to hopefully one day be able to be educated because of what they learned online and what they learned from their teachers. And it allows us to have fun too as a family. And we're able to do a lot of things because of fiber internet. I'm Rudy, and my family learns with fiber.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
That is just a spectacular view behind my left shoulder on this beautiful Wednesday morning. The Tampa Bay Rays are a game away from going to their first World Series since 2008. Knocked off the Astros last night. 5-2 was the final. The Rays continued to use a recipe that's worked for them in the postseason. Stellar defense, timely hitting, great pitching. The result Tuesday night, a win. In Game 3, they are now up 3-0 on the Astros in the American League Championship Series. The Astros led 1-0 on Jose Altuve's first inning home run. The Rays struck in the sixth. They had a big inning. Joey Wendell drove in a couple of runs to put Tampa on top with a bases-loaded base hit. There was a hit by pitch that scored another run. Hunter Renfroe capping the 5-run inning with a 2-run double. Ryan Yarborough pitched 5 innings for the victory. He allowed just 2 runs, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts. Tampa Bay's bullpen took care of it. The rest of the way, they used 5 pitchers to hold Houston scoreless on 4 hits with 4 strikeouts. The Rays go for the sweep tonight. 5:40 first pitch. Tyler Glasnow, Zach Greinke will be towing the rubber. You can watch it on TBS. Atlanta owns a 2-0 lead in the National League Championship Series. Very exciting 8-7 victory over Los Angeles last night. Huge comeback from the Dodgers in the bottom of the 9th inning. In fact, they were trailing 9-3. Then the Dodgers scored 4 runs in its final frame on an RBI double by Corey Seager. Max Muncy had a 2-run home run, and then Cody Bellinger had an RBI triple with a tying run 90 feet away, the winning run at the plate. Braves reliever Mark Melancon finally got A.J. Pollock to ground out for the final out, preserve the victory. Whew, very exciting. Ozzie Albies 3 for 4 with a solo home run in the top of the 9th inning for Atlanta. Corey Seager ended the night 2 for 4 with a couple of runs, 4 ribbies, and a 3-run home run. Game 3 is today, 3:05 p.m. on FS1. It'll feature Julio Urias for the Dodgers. Kyle Wright will pitch for Atlanta. Some of the teams north of the border in the British Columbia Hockey League have already been playing exhibition games during an extended training camp. The Wenatchee Wild, of course, just started practice on Monday. Teams in British Columbia will play 12 exhibition games against each other by November 12th. The Wild don't have any exhibition games scheduled yet. That is what life is like since we are the only American team in the British Columbia Hockey League. The Canadian border, of course, is closed because of COVID-19. Wenatchee head coach Chris Clark, he says he can't worry about things that's out of his control.
You just prepare. I think it's, you listen to pretty much any head coach and it's all cliches, but all you can do is control what you can control. Our job is to get our players prepared for the 2021 season, and obviously we do have to wait for the border to open, and you can drive yourself crazy every single day with different news and different people saying this and different people saying that. At the end of the day, they're going to let us know, and we're going to be prepared for whatever comes our way, and when they tell us the border's open, we'll be ready to go.
As the Wild embark on a 7-week training camp this week, Coach Clark says they're working on trying to get some games and trying to get some competition south of the border.
We have a few different things in the works right now. We are talking with some other American teams about possibly playing them or putting teams together to play against them in a few different locations. So obviously with the border not being open, playing the BC teams is out of the question right now, but we have a few things in the works. You got to give Bless a ton of credit. I think he spends 16 hours a day on the phone just trying to get things right and make it so that our players have a great experience this year. And I know we'll get there, and the exhibition games will happen, and then, like I said, then we'll get to the regular season, and it's all hands on deck.
23 players scheduled to hit the ice earlier this week at the Town Toyota Center in Wenatchee. Some say that, well, there's a heavy exhibition schedule for the teams in Canada, and that gives them a competitive advantage, but Coach Clark says maybe not.
Yeah, no, I can't worry about what every other team is doing. They've started exhibition games. I mean, some people would say, well, then they have a greater chance of getting injured because they're playing games. No matter what, nobody's starting until December 4th. So we'll be ready when the puck drops on December 4th, and Again, all we can control is what we can control, and that's it. We're going to put a good 7 weeks in, and we'll have our guys prepared, and when that puck drops on December 4th, we'll be ready to go.
As Clarkey mentioned, it is scheduled to start the regular season on December 4th. He says while border closures and COVID-19 restrictions are out of his control, the organization is still going to be developing young players, and those young players need a place to stay here in Wenatchee.
We are still looking for some quality billet homes, so if you have an open room in your house or you know somebody that you think might be a good fit, please give us a call, 888-7825. Even if you just want to talk about it. We spend all season continuing to recruit because things happen and kids come in, so we're always looking for more families. So if you do know anybody or you yourself are a good fit or have even the slightest bit of interest, please give us a call and ask for myself or Kyle Brody, and we'd love to talk to you.
Again, that number to call if you're interested in being a billet family is 888-7825. Speaking of the Wenatchee Wild, a hockey night kicks off our sports week tomorrow night because it's Thursday tomorrow night, and it's always hockey night. We got the Penticton V's of the Wenatchee Wild from back on November 9th. Arch Ecker with the play-by-play. They'll drop the puck at 7 o'clock. We're going to switch things up a little bit on Friday night. Instead of sports, we're going to feature the Wenatchee Valley Symphony Orchestra's first performance of the season at 7 o'clock. And then at 9, we're going to re-air the dramatic story of the rescue efforts to save a girl who fell through the ice in Rock Island. You'll have a chance to watch Saving Rihanna again on Friday night. Then back to sports on Saturday. Wenatchee and Moses Lake Volleyball at 2 o'clock. At 6, we're going to re-air a race from July from the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, sponsored by North Valley Mechanical, all right here on your local TV station. And by golly, that's us, the NCW Life Channel. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Wednesday, 27 minutes after the hour. I had 5 obscure holidays to choose from. Today is Be Bald and Be Free Day. Could have had a lot of fun with that, but nope. National Emergency Nurses Day. We love our emergency nurses. National Stop Bullying Day. I'm all for that. It's National Fossil Day. Again, I could have had some fun time with that, but nope, we're not going to celebrate those. No, today, of course, is National Desert Day, talking about the Sahara, the Gobi, the Mojave Desert, the Arabian Desert. You know, it's actually National Dessert Day. I probably should start wearing my glasses. National Dessert Day, not National Desert Day. That's my bad. Dessert is a French word. It means, literally means remove all that has been served. So they would clear the table and bring in dessert, and there you go. Everybody has a favorite dessert. Here are the top 5 favorite desserts among Americans. Number 5, the cheesecake. Oh, I love cheesecake. Number 4, Jell-O. Can't go wrong with Jell-O. Number 3 on the popularity of desserts is apple pie. Number 2, chocolate cake. And the favorite dessert in America, number 1, the Sahara. Oh, again, that's a desert. Ice cream. I'm sorry, ice cream. Number 1. National Dessert Day. Dessert growing up for me was a treat. We didn't get desserts too often. Didn't happen too often. Well, formal occasions, of course. I want apple pie, and I want it right now. Today in history, 108 years ago today, the former president of the United States got shot. Theodore Roosevelt was running for president again. Of course, he served almost 2 full terms as a Republican, and then he didn't like what was going on with the Republican Party. So in 1912, he ran again as the Bull Moose candidate. He was giving a speech in Milwaukee when he was shot in the chest by they called him a maniac. His name is John Schrank. Shot him in the chest. But Theodore Roosevelt, his glasses case was made out of stainless steel, and it was in his left front breast pocket, and the bullet struck the case, which probably saved his life. The bullet still ended up in his chest, but it wasn't too deep. He went ahead and spoke. He spoke for 90 minutes with a bullet in his chest. He was bleeding, and then finally somebody said, TR, I think you should probably go to the hospital because you got like shot. That's pretty remarkable. Getting shot in the chest, then delivering a speech for 90 minutes. Happened on this date 108 years ago today. Who doesn't love Winnie the Pooh? Everybody loves Winnie the Pooh. Piglet. It hit bookshelves for the very first time 94 years ago. Winnie the Pooh goes back 94 years. October 14th, 1926. Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne was first published, an absolute children's classic. I think every kid is familiar with Winnie the Pooh or has read Winnie the Pooh, 94 years old today. The Cuban Missile Crisis got going on this date 58 years ago today, only we didn't know it at the time. October 14th, 1962, American reconnaissance aircraft took a bunch of photos of Cuba, and it turns out those things were Soviet ballistic missiles being installed in Cuba. They knew how to read these things, and they took the photos to the president, and President Kennedy went, okay, got ourselves a little problem here. We'll have more on this over the next few days. And baseball. They celebrate things differently in different cities. The first video I'm going to show you is from last year. The American League Championship Series, Houston and New York. Jose Altuve wins the American League pennant with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth inning. Here it is.
We'll walk in. And that's driven deep to left center field. Garner is going back. Looking up. See you later. See you later. Astros headed back to the World Series. Jose Altuve, a walk-off two-run homer. And the Astros beat the Yankees 6-4.
That's how they celebrated in Houston last year, with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth to win the pennant and go to the World Series. The crowd stood and cheered. Everybody hugged each other. The confetti came down. The team gathered at home plate. A wonderful, warm moment for the Houston Astros. 44 years ago today, on October 14th, 1976, there was another walk-off home run to win the pennant and send a team to the World Series, but they celebrate differently in New York City. Here's how that went.
Mark Littell delivers high drive, hits it right center field. That's gone. It is gone. Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees. A thrilling, dramatic game with overtones of that great sixth game in the World Series a year ago, and then the seventh game too. What a way for the American League season to end. A spunky young Kansas City team. Look at them mob Chris Chambliss. What a season he has had. What a series he has had.
Yeah, that's how they did it in New York back in 1976. Chris Chambliss afterwards said he was halfway between second and third base, and he realized he just got to get out of here, baby. Thank goodness a couple of cops showed up and escorted him directly to the Yankee dugout and eventually into the Yankee clubhouse. The postscript to all of this is that you're supposed to round the bases, touch all the bases, and touch home plate to make the home run official. But when it goes over the fence and there are certain circumstances, the umpires don't worry about it, but they thought just in case Chris better go back out and touch home plate. So surrounded by police officers, about 15 minutes later, Chris Chambliss went back out with a police escort to touch home plate to make it official. Home plate wasn't there. They dug it up. It was gone. Home plate's encased in concrete. They took first base, second base, third base, home plate. Home run counted anyway. Birthdays. Dwight David Eisenhower was born 130 years ago today. Of course, the American general. He was the 34th president of the United States, led American troops in the European theater and did it brilliantly. He wanted to attend the Naval Academy. His folks didn't have any money. They were poor. He wanted to go to college, and he figured, well, we can't afford tuition, so I'll go at the government's expense. And so he applied to go to the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. It turns out he was too old to become a midshipman, so he applied to go to West Point. And West Point said, well, there's two guys ahead of you, so you're third, so you can't get in. But if one of those two guys doesn't get accepted, then you're in, Ike. Well, it turns out one of the two guys failed his physical, and Dwight D. Eisenhower was admitted to West Point. And the rest is history. Of course, he was a golf nut. He had a putting green installed on the south lawn of the White House so he could work on his chipping and his putting. The squirrels was bugging him. The squirrels would run all over the green and in the sand trap. And so he ordered all of the squirrels trapped and sent elsewhere. A very good president, a great general. Dwight David Eisenhower, born in this state 130 years ago, and John Wooden was born in this state 110 years ago. Considered by many to be the greatest coach of all time, regardless of sport. Of course, the head basketball coach for the UCLA Bruins, won 10 NCAA championships in 12 years. His UCLA Bruins won 36 games in a row in the tournament. That's remarkable. The legendary John Wooden, who's still teaching us things today, even though he's been gone for quite some time. We miss John. 35 minutes after the hour, everyone's entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. This ought to be good. And then a couple of days ago, Dr. Garn Christensen, superintendent of the Eastmont School District, paid me a visit. You folks in the Eastmont School District, you're going to see it on your ballot. It's Proposition 1. He's going to talk about Proposition 1 and what that means to you when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating, serving North Central Washington, is proud to offer the finest heating and cooling air quality products along with prompt and professional customer service since 1984. Regardless of the temperature outside, Arctic is here for you. Arctic offers a variety of services: residential and commercial heating, air conditioning, commercial refrigeration, as well as planned fall and spring maintenance for the overall well-being of your system. Call Arctic Refrigeration and Heating for your heating and cooling needs.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. So let's say you have a negative experience with someone from a different race or group, and on the basis of that experience, you form a general opinion on that entire race or group. Or maybe you see or experience other instances which you perceive support your subjective judgments. Now, isn't this a description of prejudice, which we all seem to agree is wrong? Now, the reason I ask myself and others when I claim to abhor one type of prejudice, am I harboring another type and justifying it due to my subjective perceptions? A simpler way to ask this is, do I think it's okay to hate and be prejudiced against people who I perceive as prejudiced? This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine in style at Highlander Bar and Grill, located at the beautiful Highlander Golf Course in East Wenatchee. Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner with dine-in or takeout options. Highlander Bar and Grill's friendly staff is here to serve you 7 days a week. Call for reservations Friday night prime rib dinner. Contact Shalane, Highlander Grill's site coordinator, to schedule your corporate event or special occasion today.
Green Motion e-bikes have rolled into Wenatchee. We've got fun, affordable e-bikes for the whole family. Portable e-bikes that fit right in the trunk of your car. Fat tire mountain bikes plus unique vintage style bikes you won't find anywhere else. Get some exercise with pedal assist or just cruise up to 20 miles per hour with the throttle. Starting under $1,000, Green Motion e-bikes are affordable fun for the whole family. Green Motion e-bikes is located right downtown on the corner of Palouse and Wenatchee Avenue.
And we are back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Koontz. Voters all over the state have any number of things to talk about, candidates to decide, initiatives and what have you. And if you live in the Eastmont School District, you have another decision to be making on November 3rd, and that is the renewal of the Educational Programs and Operations, formerly known as M&O Levy. Why they changed the name, we don't know, but they did. And here to talk about that is the superintendent of the Eastmont School District, no stranger to this program. Dr. Garn Christensen has been kind enough to drop by. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Dan.
You've been out making the rounds, service clubs, general people, to talk about the Again, it's a new thing. It's the Educational Programs and Operations Levy, formerly known as the M&O Levy. And we're going to talk about what the taxpayers need to know. But I haven't seen you since the school year started back in late August. We're deep enough into the school year. How about give us a report card, if you will, Dr. Christensen, on how we doing in this virtual world of learning at the Eastmont School District?
First off, I would say it's probably the hardest school year I have ever seen, not only for our students, but their families as well as educators. No one thought that we'd be where we are today. No one wanted to be where we are today, and yet it just continues to unravel, and it continues to have new pieces that we have to figure out how to work through. Eastmont, as most districts, we had to shut down instructional services. However, from the time this whole thing started and we closed our traditional schools, we continued administrative, supervisory, maintenance services to ensure that all our facilities were kept up and taken care of, and our grounds were taken care of. We still had commitments to employees that we had to honor as they worked, transitioned from face-to-face to virtually, as well as how we planned and prepared for this year. So even though there were some people that weren't able to work, our office continued to be open through the back doors. Our supervisors, our principals have had to, in some cases we're on version 9 or 10 of plans, because the moment you think you know how you need to proceed, new information is provided. That information gets refined, gets questioned, sometimes gets set aside. So it's not what any of us anticipated. We had very limited summer school through the summer, so we've actually had students on our campuses since July. We're now up to over 750 students every day. These are a very small group that are intentionally brought on campus because it's extremely challenging to provide services any other way at this time. We're hoping to move into a phase 2, which would be our K-4 students in a hybrid model of some type, just as soon as we see rates decline to a point where either we're allowed by the state current requirements or our local health officer gives us a nod to go forward. And we're not quite there yet. We're hoping to get there soon. All the efforts locally that are being done by both Wenatchee and Eastmont and other school districts are all trying to help show where we really are in the situation so that we know are schools transmission sites or are they not? And that's a big question that's in front of us all right now.
The Cascade School District got going earlier in the week. They're starting to roll in a hybrid model in the Leavenworth Cascade area, Cascade School District. Is the Chelan Douglas Health District giving you hard numbers, or they say if you get in this general area, we can start thinking about it?
Well, they're following the state guidelines. All of us that work in public service and we sign contracts to provide services, whether it's law enforcement, fire, whatever it might be, public education is similar. We agree to abide by whatever regulations are in place. And at the same time, our governor and our state health department, our local health department are examining. None of us, as I said, have been in the middle of a COVID pandemic before, and it's not a situation that's been around for decades. It's a brand new situation. So though we have targets of 75 per 100,000 over the prior 2 weeks to be able to bring elementary students back on campus, we've yet to hit that. There is an allowance in the law, or current requirements, which allow a state to petition to their health officer. And if the health officer can say, all the cases we're having are in this neighborhood or this population or coming from this social setting within a community, they have the ability to give us a green light to proceed. And we've gotten that on our other stages where we're basically into a phase 1 that we're just completing. We had phase 1A, 1B, 1C, which has been returning 3 different groups of students. And as I said, now we're hoping to move to that next one. But hopefully this week we'll have some conversations, and I don't want to move forward unless we've got a good green light, but at the same time, we sure want to get students back on campus.
And as your brethren across the river, Dr. Paul Gordon mentioned, the last thing we want to do is get ahead of ourselves and have to go backwards, because that's not what we want.
No, you can click on news sources from all over this country and see states and districts that have done exactly that and are shutting down. I tell our team that the best news I have every week is we've not been shut down. We haven't had to send home cohorts. We've had students that have gotten exposures and employees from outside sources but none so far have been able to come back and say, oh, you did this at this school because of this situation that you weren't attentive to. So our challenge is to ensure that the moment we get any information, we track it down, we find out why this occurred, did they expose people on campus, we have them isolate or quarantine, whatever their requirements are, and then we also check to see and alert everyone else that's involved. But that's the hardest thing right now, and it's a daily task.
I bet it is. One last question for Dr. Christensen, then we'll move on to the election topic at hand. I asked you this in August, and you were flat out honest with me because you're the kind of person who does that. How's morale? How's morale in all this amongst your staff, your support staff, your professional educators? How are they doing?
It varies. I don't think anyone would report having a wonderful year. That's just not out there right now. Most educators really enjoy the daily interaction. They like the task of building community and building relationships. That's always been the foundation of Eastmont, and we're doing that. There's some amazing things being done in virtual education, and we forget virtual education can be high quality, rigorous. Everybody from pilots to physicians to accountants to school superintendents and teachers can get a virtual degree in training nowadays. But it's not the same. Mm-hmm. And so much of K-12 education and preschool for young people is the interaction, and you build off of that. So that's a challenge. We have people that have lost income. We have families that are really struggling right now. We're all aware of that. We have family members that have lost loved ones, and their extended family or immediate family, and we're also aware of that. So it's a really challenging time.
On to other topics. Again, on Tuesday, November 3rd, the Eastmont School District is asking residents to vote on a 4-year Educational Programs and Operations Levy, formerly known as M&O Levy. Again, we don't know why. So this basically refills the coffers to where it was over the next 4 years. This is not a new tax, and it's not a bond. Those are the two big things there, right?
Correct. To go back to the name, when people think of maintenance and operation, they think of maintaining buildings or maintaining equipment. Historically, though, levies have been also maintaining and supporting all of our educational programs. And when I talk about levies, I like to invite people to think of where you pay your bills. You pay your bills, for me, was my kitchen table. I have a small desk now in the corner of my home that I go and, the revenue comes in on one side, the expenditures are on the other side, or your bills and your income. Some of us are single income home, some of us are dual, some of us have other resources, rentals, investments, however. School districts are similar. We have think of a stool in front of a classroom with a teacher on it, let's say, and there's 3 legs of that stool. One of those legs is really thick. It's the state apportionment. That number comes up and goes down based on your enrollment. If you have 500 students, you have a different enrollment number than an allocation than if you have 5,000 or 6,000. The other 2 legs are much smaller. One is less than about 10%. It's our federal revenues. Those are always targeted for very special needs and programs. The other is our levy. And our levy dollars are pretty much so distributed throughout all expenditure categories, especially employees. If you or your son or any of your children or grandchildren or daughter have ever participated in any sports, band, choir, STEM, any of those activities, they have participated in levy-funded programs. And for Eastmont, these have been around for decades. Over 289 of the school districts have these in place.
Yeah, basically the Eastmont School District is paying for athletics and band instruments and that kind of stuff. That's coming out of pretty much out of your budget.
Well, on our side of the bill table, 85% of our bills are employees. If you look at what we do as a public service, we are people. And we have to maintain competitive wages and benefits. So pretty much so, a lot of those dollars come into paying for coaches and teachers, if it's an elective course or a specialist. Those are the type of programs. But it's also distributed throughout the district. You mentioned levy versus bond. The most important thing that we remember and teach people is, levies are for learning all kinds of activities. Bonds tend to be for buildings. A bond is a long-term commitment. It represents something similar to a home mortgage, so it requires a 60% plus 1 vote. It's a significant commitment for a community. A levy typically is 1 to 4 years, and it represents a shorter commitment, requires a 50% plus 1.
And this is a 4-year.
It is. Eastmont is takes a very conservative approach to fiscal operations. When I arrived, they were just trying to climb out of some fiscal health issues that they didn't like, and they said, we want to do better in the future. So they have some very specific goals. One of those goals is to save dollars wherever you can. I've always believed the best way to increase your revenue is to decrease your expenditures. So when our finance director, Cindy Ulrich, and myself got together and started to examine where we were spending dollars, any chance we could find to pick up some dollars and move them from the expenditure to the other side, we did. And to move a levy from a special election to the general election saves approximately $50,000. And that's significant in any budget. Whenever you have an election, they take the total costs, you pay additional postage, you pay for additional employees and time, and they send that back to the public agency to pay. So if you divide that out among everybody on the ballot, that's a smaller portion for Eastmont. And that's what we've done.
You would be paying a much bigger freight if, say, this was like a February or March election, and you and one other thing is the only thing on the ballot.
Correct.
It would be a considerable fiscal hit for the Eastmont School District. Everybody would go. I don't want to paint anybody with a big brush here, but property taxpayers in the Eastmont School District are going to say, my property taxes are going to go up if I vote yes on this levy. And the answer to that, Garn, is?
They shouldn't. And the reasoning there is, for a lot of reasons, we've been fortunate in this valley. Most of the districts, pretty much all of the districts, if you look back over the last decade or 2 decades, have slowly been increasing in value. It is a preferred place to live. A lot of businesses and industries have either moved here or expanded their operations. So our overall tax base has continued to grow. And a levy, if you look at some of our facts on our fact website or in our mailers, it's an exact amount. If you think of income tax, that's a completely different kind. If you earn $20,000 a year, you're going to pay a different rate than if you earn 40 or 60 or 80 or 180. If you have a sales tax, that's a fixed percentage. That's going to change if you buy a $20,000 car or a $40,000 car. A property tax is a bit unique. It's an exact dollar to be collected. It's a hard bill. But if we divide that bill between you and I, you're going to pay so much and I'm going to pay so much. But if all of a sudden we have more people in the room over the next few years, which has happened in both communities, and more assessed value, that bill gets distributed among everyone. So typically, unless you move into a higher priced home or your home goes up significantly in value, your total tax bill should be about the same. If your home is worth $300,000 now and it's still worth about $300,000 in 2 years, you'll pay the same, if not even less. Our last estimate when we ran our current levy was right around 285 cents a thousand. We're down to $2.11 now, which is what we're estimating this will cost.
Dr. Christensen is prohibited, and for good reason, to simply say vote yes. He can't do that in his position as superintendent. But you're out making the rounds, trying to inform the voting public as much as you possibly can. What are you hearing back from the voters in the Eastmont School District about this levy? What are you hearing so far, Garn?
People are saying, why do we need to vote yes? You're shut down. And we aren't shut down. Our services have changed dramatically, but we still have all of our employees, other than some of our sports programs, which aren't allowed back. However, we do have, as of last week, coaches returning and able to operate outside conditioning programs. We are beginning to schedule some of those activities for our second half. And if you think of a fire department, there can be days where firemen and fire equipment is parked. It's not being used. But the moment you need them, you hope they're there, and you hope they're there quick. I hope and I believe that we will gradually build out of this. And I like to remind listeners that the only reason you're here and the only reason I'm here is all of our ancestors have survived pandemics before. And when we get through this, we're still going to want to have those activities, music and choir and athletics. And it's much more cost effective to maintain and sustain those programs. So when we get a green light to move into phase 4, which I'm hoping will happen here in the next few months or in the springtime, we can begin to bring back all of those activities. And we need to plan and prepare and keep all of those things ready to go.
There's a super handy fact, it's a 2-page deal on the basic facts for you voters in the Eastmont School District. I got it right off the website. Super easy to learn the issue here so you can become an informed voter. You got something else? I don't believe I've seen this.
Yes, this was mailed out to all of our voters last week. And if you're interested or you didn't get one, please stop by our district office. We've got them to hand out, but they just give additional information. And we always talk about having the $1 version, the $10 version, and the $100 version. The dollar version is the one-pager. The $10 version is the information we have on our website. And if you're really interested, call us, make an appointment, and our head of finances will sit down and go through this in detail, and we're happy to do that.
And it should be pointed out that your support staff, not just your head of finances, but your assistant superintendents, you guys got a good group there. You really do, Garn. I know a lot of them, and it's fun to see professionals hone their craft the way your office does. They do good work.
We have amazing people at all levels. This pandemic has brought out the best in everyone. At the same time, it's brought out a lot of fears. But every day we go to work, we're dealing with, is this safe for us? Is it safe for our colleagues? Is it safe for our students? We're having to ask people to plan, get a great plan in place, and then, something changed this afternoon. But yes, we've got a great team. They're really good, and I appreciate all their efforts. It's an honor to be associated with them.
Again, be an informed voter on Tuesday, November 3rd. If you have any questions at all, feel free to call the Eastmont School District office, as Garn just said. They'll give you all the information that you need. Again, if you go to the website, I just Googled Eastmont School District, and it's right on the front page. It's super. It's also bilingual. You can download a Spanish version if you want. Dr. Christensen, it's always good to see you. Anytime you want to come by, you know where to find me. Just get a hold of Brandy, and she sets it up. So it's always good to see you, Doc.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
Dr. Garn Christensen, the superintendent of the Eastmont School District. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley, and we'll be right back.
How do you know when it's time to go to Boswell's Furniture? When you know the look you love, the colors you want, but need a little design help to bring it all together. With Boswell's complimentary design service, Glenn, Buffy, and Teresa guide you until your vision becomes reality. More styles, more fabrics, and more choices of quality home furnishings fill Boswell's expansive 2-story showroom, so you can see it and feel it before you buy. Come into Boswell's and explore the endless possibilities of home furnishings. Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging and Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
In the heart of the Wenatchee Valley lies a unique Ford and Lincoln dealership. This is Pat Armstrong Ford Lincoln, home of the lifetime warranty. Pat Armstrong Ford's mission is to exceed your expectations by taking pride in making your car buying experience as comfortable and timely as possible. This mission is consistent in every department, including parts, service, and sales. We are community strong and community safe in East Wenatchee.
Beautiful morning in God's country. 51 degrees outside of our studios. One more time. Your weather forecast from the National Weather Service. Sunshine today, gobs of it, just a couple of passing clouds. High near 62, still a little breezy at times. Northwest wind from about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Nothing we can't handle. Certainly a lot less wind than we had yesterday. That strong upper jet is still over the area, but is gradually moving away, which is why we still have some residual wind from yesterday. Clear tonight, 39 with the overnight low. Out in the Columbia Basin, you're going to be down near the freezing mark. Heads up, there's a frost warning for you folks in Moses Lake and maybe even the Quincy area. Going to be chilly out there at Freda as well. Thursday, sunshine, 62. Friday, a couple of passing clouds, maybe a light raindrop, high of 69. Beautiful weekend coming our way. Saturday, sunshine, 62. Sunshine Sunday, right around 60 degrees. Give or take a couple. Monday and Tuesday, it's going to feel like autumn. Overnight lows, though, a little on the cool side. All in all, it's very typical October weather after the dramatic weather we had on Tuesday. That's it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.